back to the channel, and today a quick review for this. This is A Time of Dread by Gwynne. Now this is the first book in the Of Blood and Bone series of novels, which is in the same universe as The Faithful and the Fallen, that same great fantasy universe. This is book one, and it is in a way, in sorts, a direct sequel to the final book in The Faithful and the Fallen, Wrath, but only in sorts, because this actually takes place 120 years later. I'll get to that in just a minute. Now, this is a B format paperback here. It's 463 pages long. That, by my word count, came out at 158,000 words. Took me about a week to read. But Gwynne's prose style is very accessible, it's very modern, and it is a page turner. So don't feel kind of put off by that in any way, shape or form. Now, 120 years later, I hear you saying, that's right, we're dealing with the descendants of our heroes from the final book, Wrath, and they are locked in a kind of religious, almost biblical proportion battle, a shadow war, some would call it, between the Ben Elim, the angelic Ben Elim, and the kind of demonic Kadoshim, the two forces that battle at the end of The Faithful and the Fallen. What's really, really interesting here is there's a lot of grey area. The characters and the plot are where the action is, because it's Gwynne, that's what he does so well. And the grey area is the interactions between the characters and their motivations. It is not as clear cut as you would like between angels and demons. You think that would be very clear cut, but Gwynne is very, very smart. And that grey area is where our themes come alive, it's where they play. And the themes in this, especially politically, are they feel very kind of World War I to World War II-esque inspired, very Cold War, very kind of, powers, kind of proxy wars, things like that. It's very, very interesting stuff. It's not what you expect to be getting from this kind of more traditional fantasy novel style. The action is great because it's Gwynne. What I would say is I don't believe this delivers as kind of a full, impactful kind of first chapter of a series in the way that Malice did. And that's because even though the ending of this novel is just as good as the ending of Malice, I feel like the slow build and the character work was better delivered in Malice than it was in A Time of Dread. This is a shorter novel than Malice is, but I do feel like Malice made really good use of its page count, and I think this is not quite as good as the setup for The Faithful and the Fallen was. However, it's a very good foundation for a fantasy series, and I would still give it a 4.3 out of 5.